Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the second episode of Emilio is Dead. I am your host, Deke Slinson, and with me, as always, my co-host, Rothschild. Ross, how are things going over there?
Hello, hello. Things are going well. How are you? Whatever your name is.
Deke Slinson. Not too bad. Today, we're going to be taking a look at our top 10. That's right, only 10 shocking movie confessions.
Shocking.
What we mean by that, for the most part, it's just going to be films that we like that would shock the listener, based on our sensibilities. But there can also be certain events that we might have done during a film, or certain ways we might have procured a film. Just different things that are shocking, movie-based, and confessions.
I'm going to start off with a shocking revelation. All of mine are just movies, so none of mine are experiences.
Yeah, my list here is also just movies. However,
I didn't want to overthink it.
there is a strong possibility that the shocking movie confessions episodes will return at a later date. So if you fans like them, be sure to give us a thumbs up and leave a comment letting us know that you want to see some future episodes with this type of shit.
And make sure you go ahead and smash that subscribe button.
Yeah. Anyway, my first shocking, I will be starting out, Deke Slinson, my first shocking movie confession. I am a fan of not the Jim Carrey, the Cher mask.
This podcast is over, folks. Deke, I've known you for only a couple of minutes now. I just learned your name, but I think it's safe to say this podcast is shit. No, I like Mask. I'm with you.
I don't really need
it?
to point out. Yeah, I don't really need to point out why I've listed it for being shocking. But as for why it's good, I mean, I don't know. First off,
to Rocky Dennis.
Not really, but I mean, there is a heavy nostalgia factor because I have known the film since I was, infant age, essentially. My mom was a fan of it, so it kind of, it grew on me through osmosis in a way.
Same. It's definitely one of those movies I caught on TV with my mother as a child. Do you have the same sort of experience I have with this movie where it's unintentionally funny, especially if you've seen it more than once?
Well, I mean, that's pretty much how I go into any movie, even if they're intentionally funny.
Like, dude, the scene where oh god, what is it? Where it's all sentimental, where he opens the refrigerator door and he's got like a shirt in there.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
Remember, he needed like a new suit, or not a new suit, but a new like shirt for his graduation. He was all proud, and Cher like neglected him or something. I may be completely screwing all this up, but then like I think Gar gives him a shirt, and they surprise him. He's PMSing about it, but they're like, "Hey, go get a beer out of the fridge."
I think my favorite element of
he
the
goes
movie.
to get it, and his shirt's in there, and everyone's like, "Yeah!" All the bikers rejoice. It's fucking great.
I think my favorite element of the movie is the fact that Cher took time off from being a wildly irresponsible mother to play a wildly irresponsible mother.
Wasn't she fucking Anthony Kiedis at this time too?
I have no idea. I'm not a Cher fan. I'm not a Cher biographer, but
I thought you were when you brought up that fact.
I mean,
I didn't even get. Oh, I guess that's true. Her son, daughter. I swear I didn't mean that disrespectfully, but her child.
You're canceled, Roth.
What do I know already? God damn it! Keep me in line.
I think we just found where to use the censor bleep.
Oh, there's so much comedy gold in that film. When the big dude, what's that guy's name? Dennis. How do I know his name? If his name is Dennis Burkhart, I don't know how I feel about myself that I know this actor's name. But he's like always that big biker guy in movies, and he like stutters. He can't talk in Mask, and then like he gets the courage to say like thank you or something. I don't know, man. That whole movie's. I'm thinking I have to rewatch it.
It sounds like you just rewatched it minutes ago. How in depth you're going with these memories.
I know, dude. I was about to say you need to rewatch it.
I've seen it within the last year or two. It's
not
that memorable. It's just
yes, it is. Laura Dern.
It's shocking.
Laura Dern when he's like teaching her, it's like this is pillowy, and he like takes her hand and puts it through his hair. That is a great comedy. That's an excellent selection. I keep calling you Reed.
It's Deke.
Excuse me, Deke. Excellent selection, Deke. Uh, Continuing on, I will list my shocking film choice. That Thing You Do, 1996. Tom Hanks
That's
directed.
the band one.
Yes, about the
Yeah, I've
band.
never seen it, but I have owned it a time or two.
I don't know what it is about this film. It's on paper, I shouldn't like it. It's
It
very.
does feature Steve Zahn in the cast, correct?
It does. It
I'm gonna
does.
go ahead and just throw my money on it's probably Steve Zahn.
Dude, he's good in it. Everyone is though. Even Liv Tyler. I don't know. There's such a. It really nails like this warm vibe. You know how we discussed that John Waters has that sort of like, and this is it takes place in the 60s, you know what I mean? It has like the pop music, it's all story, it's very romanticized, you know what I mean? It's very colorful and vibrant. I don't know, it's very warm. um it's very enjoyable. I don't know, I love it. And what's funny is I didn't even want to see it. I was a freshman in high school when it came out, and I was dating a girl who wanted to see this flick, and I was, you know, dragged along, and I ended up liking it more than she. I don't even think she liked it. But yeah, this is a PG film directed by Tom Hanks, came out in the 90s, about a fictional uh Beatles-esque pop group. If you describe that to me right now, I would not put that on. But
Yeah,
I
your description
surprisingly,
isn't selling it very
I
well to
know,
me.
but I surprisingly, I've seen this movie well over 10 times in my life, and I'd happily watch it again.
Isn't
It's
it over 2 hours as well?
it's not. That's one thing that sucks on the Blu-ray edition. Or maybe they put out a special edition DVD, I believe, at one point, but it was only the director's cut, which you need to be a hell of a director for me to get inspired about that. 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, things are cut for reasons. Unless there's some real like studio interference where they're not matching artistically with the filmmaker. 9 times out of 10, I mean, a shorter runtime is ideal. But no, the original release, it's under 2 hours. But I think that Blu-ray, I'd have to look at my Blu-ray. I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure
believe the DVD I had was over 2 hours, and that was another
yeah,
factor on me not ever giving it a chance.
and I vaguely like I remember when that special edition DVD came out. Like I'm a fan of this film. I bought it. I remember it being a little underwhelmed that it was the only option available was the director's cut.
I'm gonna ask a bit of a spoiler question regarding your list. Is this the only film featuring Tom Hanks on your list?
Hmm. Yes.
All right.
Yeah. I don't hate Tom Hanks. I tend to agree with people. He's like the modern day Jimmy Stewart. He's the I can see. I'm not like a fan. I don't seek out his movies, but he's not somebody who I have this knee jerk sort of repulsion towards if he's involved in a project. Do you?
Do I have any that feature Tom Hanks?
Well, no. Do you like
Oh,
hate
do I
him
do I hate him?
or?
I don't hate Tom Hanks. I was just
Yeah,
curious because I know on the last episode you had brought up being a big fan of Toy Story 3, also a Tom Hanks feature. I didn't know if any other surprising Tom Hanks confessions were gonna hit the airwaves tonight.
no. See, that's funny. I don't even look at the Toy Story movies as like, hey, that's a Tim Allen movie.
Oh, I do, definitely.
I don't. If I did, especially with the Tim Allen one, that would
You
be
would not watch it
that
because
would go
I'd be
against
the
it.
opposite. That if
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see Tim Allen involved in a shitty movie, I will likely give it a chance.
God no. God no. We'll leave it at that. Shout out to Mark Turner. Uh, what is your number two selection?
Well, it's interesting you brought up John Waters because my number two selection is, in my opinion, his greatest film, Crybaby. Like your first choice, everything on paper about this movie, with the exception of Waters, sounds like I shouldn't like it. It's a PG-13 teen musical starring a literal teenager and Johnny Depp, Ricky Lake, teenage Ricky Lake. Like everything about it
The
is
great Ricky
terrible.
Lake.
Literally on paper, everything about that just sounds like you should be
Yeah.
wiping with it and throwing it in the toilet.
I am surprised that you like Crybaby. I could
I
see
would
you.
honestly give this film. I would honestly give this film probably a solid 8.5, maybe a 9.
Wow.
I've watched this movie 4 times this calendar year alone.
Wow. And
Yeah,
this is a musical.
correct.
This is a musical for those unfamiliar with Crybaby. I am shocked. I'm not again. I could see this film being something that like maybe you saw as a child and it stuck with you. You know, like
Actually, I didn't
nostalgia.
see it.
It
I didn't
doesn't
see it
sound
until I was
like
a
that.
teenager.
There you go. I'm about to say it doesn't sound like that if you're watching it 4 times in the most recent calendar year.
I watched it so many times because I purchased a couple different. Well, I purchased it on DVD, then I just watched it a few times, then I got the Blu-ray, so then I had to, obviously
Gotcha.
watch the Blu-ray cut. Which actually, if you find the Blu-ray of this, don't buy it because it only features the rated edition. Which the only major change is the bleeping of "fuck" in the court scene.
Hmm.
So I mean, if you want 2 bleeps, buy the Blu-ray. If not, stick with your DVD. It's not a great jump in video fidelity.
Do you know
There's
who put
no
out that
additional features.
Blu-ray?
Whatever company put out the movie. It's just one of the cheap.
It's
It's
just
not. It's not like some special edition.
I was about to say, I know Criterion has been kind of digging into John Waters, but they're going with the. I assume they probably wouldn't get the rights to Crybaby. That has more of a
I
no,
believe it was it a
like
Universal movie.
I believe so, yeah. But Criterion's putting out like did they put out Pink Flamingos? They put out what is it? Female Trouble. Like the ones that are Crybaby has more. People know Crybaby more than they do some of Waters' earlier work. Uh,
For
so
good
I
reason, in my opinion.
don't. He pushed boundaries. I mean, you have to respect him even if you don't like Pink
Yeah, I
Flamingos or
respect him
any of
more as
that.
an artist than I do actually the art he
Yeah.
created.
I like his movies. Crybaby wouldn't be my favorite film of his, but I enjoy it. He's pretty consistent, honestly. Even he's one of those dudes. If I really think about it, a bad John Waters movie is still enjoyable. Like I don't think I've ever seen a film of his where I was completely like, God damn, what happened? You know?
What would be your top 3 John Waters films?
Jeez, off the top, that's hard. That's hard because he's so consistent, man.
For me, it's pretty simple. It's no contest.
Really?
I think there's only 3 that I do like, honestly.
See, I'm the opposite. Like I'm trying to think of one I don't like, but I also don't really have one that towers above the rest. That's like my easy go-to number one. That's a hard question. I'm gonna have to get back to you on that.
Would Crybaby make your top 3? Let's just do that one.
Crybaby would make probably my top three, the ones I've seen the most.
But
But
not your
that
top 3
also,
overall.
yeah, and that also I was about to say that's not even necessarily through choice. I mean, that just kind of that one got more,
TV play.
play. Yeah, exactly.
That's how I initially saw it on Comedy Central, actually, I believe.
Yeah, Comedy Central. Yeah, you're right. Comedy Central used to play the hell out of that years ago. Um, yeah, I'd have to get back to you. I can't think. Let me keep this rolling. And it's interesting because my next selection, it's funny. All of our choices so far have musical numbers, and I guess we assume everyone thinks we hate musicals,
Mask
which is
didn't have
a
a
safe
musical number, did
assumption.
it?
Oh, fuck, you're right. I was just looking at that thing you do and Crybaby. So with Mask could have benefited. It does. You don't remember
It,
anything.
it has a musician in it,
I'm
though,
just gonna
so we'll
make
let
up
it
the scene.
slide.
I named like 3 scenes that you didn't remember. Yeah, there's a musical scene in it, dude.
I'm sure Cher did a shitty music video at the same time, and you can just pretend it's her character in it.
No, there's that beautiful musical number. Mommy hired me a prostitute that Rocky goes into. You don't remember that? That was great. Good times. I'm gonna go with Enchanted, starring Amy Adams and James Marsden. That's his name. I always want to say something else. I always want to say James Marsters.
You want to say Cyclops?
I've never seen the X-Men movies, dude.
You don't need to see the X-Men movies. He's just it's a good nickname for the cat.
or Sex Drive. I know you've tried to sell me on that film. Isn't that it's Sex Drive, right? Where
Yeah. They break the fourth wall and refer to him as Cyclops.
Nah. Yeah, he's good in this, dude. I like him as an actor. I
Is
think
this
he
that
does.
movie where is this where like the people are out of time?
It's an
They're like fairy
animated.
tale oh, it's
Yeah,
animated.
imagine. Well, no. Well, the first scene's animated, but imagine if Snow White.
They come to like New York.
Yeah, if Snow White as a character is taken out of the animated film and placed in New York, yes.
I haven't seen this film, but I did see whatever parody movie it was that parodied it.
I have no idea.
It was either like disaster movie or epic
Oh, I
movie or one of
I
those
really have
pieces
no
of
idea.
shit.
If it was one of those. I would not watch those. Sounds right, because I mean the time. I'm sure one of those movies touched on it. But yeah, this movie sold me on Amy Adams. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I really liked her in was it Junebug? That was a good movie. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's very, again, I think it's funny. We're keeping, with the exception of Mask, this sort of whimsical tone that I typically don't go for. But when there's, Enchanted has this earnestness to it that I loved. It's not like cynical in any way. It, it owns that sort of wearing its heart on its sleeve. It knows what it is. It knows it's hokey in some ways, and it fully embraces it. And I don't know, it doesn't shy away from being just a great kids movie, a great Disney movie, I guess you could say. Yeah, kudos to everyone involved. I was shocked by that one. I wasn't expecting to like that movie nearly as much as I did. And I don't expect you to run out and check it out.
Yeah, I'm just letting you go on because I don't really have anything to add to that.
Yeah. What's your next choice?
My number three choice would be one that breaks that, whimsical tone you were talking about. And it's probably a movie you haven't seen, and if you have, are not a fan of. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates.
Yes, I haven't seen it.
It's again on paper seems like something I should not enjoy. It's a modern comedy that's a romance comedy. It stars Los's favorite lady, Aubrey Plaza, which that she's hit or miss. She's done some good movies, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean on paper here. And then it also I believe has that Efron kid, Zac Efron.
Yes, it does.
So I mean, yeah, on paper, everything about it should be completely abrasive, but it did have the kid from Workaholics in it, and that's why I gave it a shot. And it is a decently made, tasteless comedy. I know you're a fan of the American Pie films, it's similar in tone and nature to that. Like it's just
Hmm.
a dirty teen titty comedy.
Actually, I think people would probably be surprised that I like that I like American Pie. I wouldn't say I'm a fan of the films. I'm a fan of the first one, and I think the second sequel isn't a bad sequel. It's not a good movie, but it's not a bad sequel. The third one was terrible.
I would rather watch Mike and Dave over either one of those. And also, I believe Mike and Dave was loosely based on a real story about a couple of entrepreneuring brothers who literally sold wedding dates on Craigslist to women.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm with you on I mean, I like Anna Kendrick also. Did you mention she was the other?
Yeah, she is also in it, and I
Yeah.
can't really say I'm a fan because I believe this is all I've ever seen her in. She's probably done one or two other
I
small
was about
roles.
to say here's a bit of trivia for you. I know isn't Life After Beth one of your Aubrey
Oh
Plaza
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
exceptions?
she's also in that because
She has that one scene.
she's real life friends with Aubrey
Yeah,
Plaza.
she's in that. And they were both in Scott Pilgrim, weren't they?
I'm not a fan of that
I
movie.
know you're not a fan, but I'm just now like, oh, what other movies have they done together? I'm with you though. I like Aubrey Plaza. She's one note, so it's more or less like what she's choosing to do rather than her participation in it. But saying that, I mean, she picks some decent projects. Even the ones I don't like, I see the potential they had. To like why I like her taste. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a shot based
It
on your recommendation, dude. The
I
people
wouldn't say
involved,
it's the greatest comedy I've ever seen, but for everything I listed, all the cons against it, it
yeah,
was surprising, and I would honestly give it probably a seven, maybe a 7.5,
that's
depending on
fair.
my mood.
That's fair, and I am surprised that you enjoyed. From what I know of this film, I'm surprised by it, and I'm gonna give it a shot based on those involved in your recommendation.
I
Uh,
will a bit of forewarning though. There is a bit of Jurassic Park love in the film. They supposedly go to the location where they shot the original Jurassic Park and they recreate it driving ATVs.
See,
and they're talking about how cool
now
it
I'm probably
is.
not going to give it a shot. And it has nothing to do with Jurassic Park. It has nothing to do with Jurassic Park. I fucking hate what is with modern movies just referencing other things, and it's fun. Like, let me guess, that's the joke. We're gonna find this site that they shot Jurassic Park in, and we're gonna recreate. I bet you there's like a montage of them.
That is actually not the joke. That is
Oh,
the setup.
all right.
There's a pretty good payoff for that joke.
All right, I'm back in then. But I hate God, I hate that every movie, and as if the reference isn't obvious and bad enough, and like then films they over explain it, like they have to point out it's Jurassic Park, and for the one person in the fucking audience who has not seen Jurassic Park or is aware that there is a film called Jurassic Park.
I think in this they just mention it, then they have a bit of the score or a knockoff score, and then I think someone might make a dinosaur noise, but it's not done to death like you're bitching.
I miss the days when movies pretended like movies didn't exist.
I mean, yeah, it
You
can
know
go
what I
either way.
mean?
It can go either way, but then
It's kind of like
on the same note,
Cell phones have
you won't
ruined a
get
lot of
you won't get fourth wall breaking Cyclops lines like that.
Eh,
So I'm either way on it. It depends on the movie.
fair enough. And I just went on a side rant that really has nothing to do about with the merit of Mike and Dave hire prostitutes. Moving on. My next selection is this one's a shocker. It's a 90s family comedy. It's Adam's Family Values, and I rewatched this.
The second one?
The second one, not the
Wow.
first one. I prefer the second one.
I've always been bigger on the first one, and then I actually tried to rewatch the second one recently.
Zanier, and it like I feel like it's more like what the original drawings were that what's his face did. I love Joan Cusack's character, and I love the story there. I felt like the first one, it kind of stalled. I don't want to say. What do I say? Or fuck. What am I trying to say about the first one? Not that it's boring. Idea. Not that it's boring, but it's just kind of like it. I mean, it's an Addams Family. Who cares? What the fuck am I talking about? I prefer the second one. Like I'm gonna go into the intricacies of pacing in Addams Family in Barry Sonnenfeld's Addams Family films. Fuck it. I prefer the second one. I think that's surprising. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Christina Ricci.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't you an avowed non-fan of her?
No.
Are you like an anti-fan like I am with Little Eyebrow, or are you just not? Do you just not see the hype?
I just don't see the hype. She's in certain things I like Addams Family Values.
An honorable mention for my list that she did Buffalo 55. That's it, or is it 65?
66.
60, whatever it is. Buffalo, whatever the fuck the number.
Jesus, even I don't like that movie.
I've always been a moderate fan of that. And then I saw it recently, and it was better than I remembered it.
Scuzziness of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
just that guy in general. I like that guy.
Gallup gets on my nerves. Did you ever watch Brown Bunny?
No, but I know what scene you're talking about. I didn't want to sit through like 45 minutes of him badly racing a car to see that one funny bit of payoff. But I do like. He talked about once how if he was a painter, or maybe he is a painter, how he like paints pictures or wanted to paint pictures and then never show them to the world. And I could relate to that on so many different fucking levels. I was just like, this guy's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't.
He wants to create beautiful art and then deprive the world of it. That's great.
Yeah.
But anyway, is that all you had to say on Addams Family Values?
Yeah.
All right, my fourth choice for shocking movie confessions, and we touched on this a bit, a little before, or a similar movie at least, The Omen. Shocking on many reasons. One, as I've stated, I'm not a big fan of religious movies or religion in movies. I'm not a big religious guy in general, so anytime that's in a movie, it generally just drives me away. Two, it's a 2-hour movie. It's slightly under. It's about an hour and 52 minutes or some shit, but I mean, still 2 hours. It takes a good while to get going. You know, there's a lot of just talking and badly lit scenes at the beginning.
It's definitely not the Fast and Furious.
Yeah, there's long segments of just dry dialogue scenes. Like I said, on paper, shouldn't like it, but I've always been a fan, and the one hook that's always done it for me is the director Richard Donner has always stated that he never wanted any of, or he never intended, I should say, any of the supernatural elements of the film to be real. So the entire time audiences are watching this and thinking Greg Peck is,
Hmm.
honestly living with the spawn of Satan. In
Hmm.
fact, it's just a series of mishappenings and him going absolutely insane. And then by the end of the film, he's gone crazy enough to where he's almost about to stab a completely innocent child. And when you view it like that, it's a
That's
completely
incredible.
different movie. Yeah, it's a completely different movie.
Yeah, and we were talking about this prior to this cast, and I had no idea about that. I always viewed it like that. I always viewed it as the lesser Exorcist in a way, you know? And when you described it in those terms, it made me want to go back and, like, I actually want to revisit this film and watch it, especially if Donner really did say that.
It's definitely worth a revisit, and he absolutely does say it. If you own the Blu-ray, it's on there on one of the special features, him talking about it.
Like I said, I never hated The Omen, even with my incorrect interpretation. Should I go ahead and blind buy it? Because I really am like just intrigued. Well, not blind by it. I've seen it before, but just do you think knowing that now my whole viewing experience will be altered?
Probably, but I will suggest just buying the single disc because first off, the two sequels completely ruin the magic of the first one by making the
Yeah,
supernatural elements real. Also, it includes the pointless remake, which no one cares for or needs, and also the packaging. It's those stupid fucking paper cases where they just slide the discs in.
I
There's
hate
no
that.
actual case, it's just folded cardboard. So if you're gonna get it, just get the standalone first one. It's all you need, and it'll have everything pertaining to that film you want to hear on it. There's
I com-
nothing missing by not getting the others.
I completely forgot they did that remake with Julia Stiles.
And Leave Schreiber or whatever.
Really? Damn it, I
He's the
like
dad. He's the Greg Peck.
he's Gregory Peck. I like him too. God damn it. Why do you do that? I do.
And really, the only thing they did is they made the kid even more like the kid in the Babadook. He's just even more annoying and Aspergery and shit.
Speaking of kids, I'm gonna jump in on my fourth choice. Film that shocking confession, a film that you may be surprised I like, Coraline, directed by who is it? Henry Selick, the guy everyone thinks Tim Burton is.
Yeah, I think I
Is that I
think
think
I've
that's
I
his
think
name.
I've actually seen I think I've seen about half of that one.
Yeah, well, anyone who knows me knows I'm not a big animation guy. I respect it. I I see the craft. I see the artistry. You know, I get it. I completely get it. It just doesn't connect with me. It's just not my thing. Um, so for an animated film to win me over, it really does take a lot. I don't know why. It does. Like for instance, I to this day have never seen more of 10 minutes of Nightmare Before Christmas because it just annoyed the hell out of me. And this is similar look, you know. I've never seen Corpse Bride or, you know, any of those like the stop motion, whether it's literal stop motion
Paranorman.
or that, yeah, I've never watched any of those. So it's actually kind of a miracle I even saw Coraline. And I don't even remember why I watched it. Now I look back on it. But it is. It's actually, you said you only saw the first half. The finale of this film, like the climax at the end, is actually scary. Like it's very well made. Like for a kids movie, it's actually it's like horror. I mean, it's I don't know the look of it, even the music in it. I even own some of the music from it, the musical numbers. That seems to be a theme in my list here. But yeah, I don't know. It worked. It worked. Everything about it. But and it's interesting. Those aspects that work in Coraline for me seemingly are on display in, as I said, Nightmare Before Christmas. But I can't stomach that at all. But Coraline, I'll gladly revisit. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Rothschild is terrified of children's films,
Dude, watch it.
children's musicals.
Watch the ending of it. I'm not saying I'm terrified of it. I'm saying in the in the grand scheme of horror. Like it's very well done. It's good. Dude, just watch the end. Just Google or go on YouTube, look up the end when the mother like flips out. And
I'll
even the
I'll
way it looks,
I'll
like
just
the
take your word for it.
animation. Dude, I am singing the praises of animation here. Like
You
it's
also sang the
excellent.
praises of Toy Story in the last episode, so
Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3. God
whatever.
damn it.
It's your animation taste is debatable, sir.
Literally, that's the only Pixar film that I would go out of my way to watch. Is probably Toy Story 3. They're okay, you know.
So I take it you
And I
didn't see The
admit it,
Incredibles too.
I did, but well, my come on, my girlfriend has a kid. I mean, he wanted to see it. I
It's still pretty funny.
yeah,
You're
I
embarrassed. Your embarrassed confession of it. I did.
oh, all right. Here's a shocking, kind of funny confession. I saw the first Incredibles in the movie theater, and this is a funny story. This was when did that come out? 2003, 2004, something like that. So this is still I'm in my early 20s. I'm at the height of doing things I shouldn't be doing. We'll put it that way. And my friend at the time, he was a big like he went to an art school and all that. He was big into animation and all that. So him and I were hanging out. It's a Sunday, and we're a little lit, whatever. We're like, oh, we should go check out, or he wanted to go check out The Incredibles. And I actually, here's another shocking one I could have put on this list. I am a big fan of Iron Giant. So
Iron Giant's a good movie.
great movie. That's another one. I should have put that on this list. I completely forgot about it. So I knew Brad Bird. I knew who he was. And I was like, yeah, dude, let's go check out that movie. Iron Giant's great. So not thinking, hey, this is a Pixar film. This is a Sunday afternoon. We're just thinking, hey, let's go to the movies and check this out. I'm like drunk and high off my ass. We're lit. You know what I mean? We walk in this movie theater. It's like all kids, and we're like two dudes in our 20s.
Does the story end with you vomiting on a child?
It doesn't, but it was so like awkward. I do remember there's a scene, if you recall, in the first one where like the boy discovers his power.
I don't.
I honestly don't. I'm trying to put it together from this memory. But there's some like scene where like the baby or something discovers its power and he like starts running on water. I have never seen a movie theater get so amped up in my life. These little kids, dude, and I'm wasted. There's like I'm in this theater, little kids, they're like, yeah, yeah, they're like fucking clapping and everything like over this scene. Uh so yeah, watch Coraline, guys.
So my fifth shocking movie confession, I am a fan of the movie Sorority Row.
I've never seen it.
It basically is like a CW looking and casted horror film from 2000 whatever the fuck. And it's not great. The ending is stupid. The killer's weapon is stupid, and it's just a typical, slasher movie from that time period, the mid to late 2000s.
Mm.
But I don't know, man. Something about it worked.
I'm a big fan of House on Sorority Row. Is this a remake of that?
I think it started as one, or like I don't remember, but I think it's not really. Not really. I think they just loosely ripped off the name for
Yeah, I mean,
whether it was intended to be one or not. I think that's just basically what happened.
it's not like House on Sorority Row is some beacon of originality. You could take that, yeah, and apply it to anything.
But I will say, the opening of this movie is the greatest part. Really, if you watch like the first 10, 15 minutes, you can honestly basically shut the rest of the movie off because you basically know what's going to happen. But I don't know.
I can honestly say I can't even picture a poster. I don't remember this being released.
It's just four chicks' heads in front of a house, and then I think there's like the outline of a killer somewhere on it.
And my only recollection of it is, like I said, hearing that title and thinking, "Oh wow, they remade that."
Another thing that's shocking about it features fucking Bruce Willis's daughter, Rumor, and I don't hate it.
Wow. That's controversial. They cast a foot as a character. I'll give them props
They
for
cast
being.
the top half of Demi Moore's head, and just unfortunately, it came with the lower half of Bruce Willis's head.
How does anyone believe in God? What sick joke is that? You take Bruce Willis and Demi Moore, and it's like, let's take their worst features and fucking slap them together, and here you go. It's that this Frankenstein's monster. Thanks for not laughing, Garth. You feel terrible on that.
So what's your number 5 choice? Roth.
That's right. I'm sorry, Deke. My 5th choice. It's actually, this one isn't surprising that I like it, but it's surprising how much I like it, and this is definitely a top 20 of all time for me. I think it's a masterpiece, and I don't throw that term around lightly. White Men Can't Jump.
Never seen it.
Cool. I didn't want to debate it. It's a masterpiece. No, like I said, I don't think it's surprising that I like that, but I do. I think it's brilliant. I think it is one of the best portrayals of relationships, not only friendships, but romantic relationships in easily in any modern movie, but I mean in any movie period. And here's a little fun trivia, which will mean nothing to you, Deke. But Stanley Kubrick loved White Men Can't Jump a lot. He fucking adored it, apparently, which is, I guess it's more shocking for Kubrick than it is me. God, you're so chatty. I love it. Do you want me to go into my number 6?
I mean, I literally, I know nothing about that movie other than the title, and I think I've seen a poster of it once.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't think you'd like it, to be honest. But for anybody out there who's considering watching Jurassic Park for the 30th time and hasn't seen White Men Can't Jump, throw that Spielberg trash away. Pop in some Wesley Snipes and thank me later.
Was that before Money Train, or was that?
Oh, it was before. Do not watch Money Train.
I was just saying, I was just wondering where their first team up started at.
Oh God, there's a reason why there was only 2. Well, actually, technically, that wasn't their first team up. They were together. There's a movie called Wildcats. You heard of that, from 1986 with Goldie Hawn, where she comes in and she coaches the inner city high school football team, and actually Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson are both on that team, and they're like next to each other. I think they have some lines together and everything as like part of they're not like lead roles, but
sounds pretty terrible.
Great trivia for all you Money Train fans out there.
All right, well, that brings me to my number 6 choice for shocking movie confessions, and that is, I am a fan of the movie Ghost.
And much like you, I'm just going to ghost you and let you talk.
Right, well, like my first choice, Mask, there is definite heavy nostalgia, and it's similar. My mom was a big fan. It rubbed off on me. And similar to Mask, I visited it years later, and the movie held up remarkably well. And I'm going to go ahead and make another shocking movie confession right here. The only Swayze film, or Swayze period, I need.
No. You're wrong.
There's no other Swayze that I need. There's nothing else he needs to do for me. He shows up, he dies.
There are 2 movies off the top of my head that are more essential than Ghost.
Are you talking about Surfer Dude, the prequel, and
how dare you?
Roadhouse?
How dare you, sir? You you throw such fucking disrespect towards Point Break. Yes, Point Break and Roadhouse easily. But I will say Roadhouse is unintentionally just funny. Roadhouse isn't like it's a great movie as far as like, what the fuck were you guys thinking? And it's entertaining. But Point Break's actually a good movie. Crickets. Okay.
It's no Ghost, man. It's no Ghost.
You're
I've
right. It's
seen
better.
Point Break. No, I would incredibly disagree there.
I'm with you. I don't hate Ghost. Um, I don't love it enough to include it on a list like this, but similar circumstances. I grew up on it. You know, my mom liked it. I do. I, as a child, and as I guess even as a kid being sort of into horror, I always loved the subway stuff. The get off my train.
What about the very ending when
Like
when he kills the dude?
the glass falls on him and
Yeah, then
everything.
the black
Yeah.
spirit things come up and
Yeah.
grab him and shit. That's pretty rad.
Dude, it is.
And
I tell you
the whole
what,
poltergeist scene in the office where Swayze's fucking with the guy. He's sitting
dude,
there like trying to figure out his bank transaction and he's possessed the computer and shit.
you have to admit, like, they went hard on some of those elements. They almost did like what Coraline would do to such great effect
And
later and become a horror film.
wasn't that a Zucker production?
It was one
So
of the
yeah.
songs.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you're used to
And then
seeing goofy slapstick shit from them, and then they come and slap you in the face with some
well what's
demi and
yeah.
pottery wheels.
Well, what's great about it is that came out in '90, I believe, and then Naked Gun 2.5 came out a year later, and they parodied Ghost in it.
Nice.
Like they parodied that whole scene with obviously the pottery scene.
You know, I'm gonna go ahead and make another slightly less shocking movie confession. Also, the only Whoopi Goldberg I need.
Mm.
You have no rebuttal with Sister Act or that fucking T-Rex movie or anything?
No, she's odd, man. She's odd because she just like. Can you name like another Oscar winner who kind of just disappears and then pops up in the most random garbage, but then is also in things that are
Wasn't
seen
she? Isn't
like
she
color.
now in the Marvel universe?
I don't know.
I
Maybe.
believe she was in one of those fucking Marvel movies. I don't remember which, but maybe I'm wrong.
But like you said, that T-Rex movie. What was some other nice sister? Yeah, I mean, at least Sister Act was a hit. Like some of that other shit. I have like all these random VHS like rental store memories of like her on a cover, like smiling in some suit, and it's like some dumbass kids
With
movie.
no eyebrows.
But as I said, but then she also, yeah, she's one of the she has an Emmy, Oscar, Tony, whatever, Grammy. Like it's weird. She's so ubiquitous, yet at the same time, like I can't think of anyone else like her. She's so trash, also, but she's also associated with like such classy stuff, like
I
Color
mean, if
Purple.
you swing 1,000 times, you're gonna hit a couple home runs. It's simple.
But that's what I'm
Simple
saying. She
mathematics.
doesn't swing. Like, what's the last thing you've seen her
Well,
in?
you were just talking about how she did such complete shit. She swung 1,000 times, then she hit a couple home runs, and now she's a bit more selective with her work.
Yeah, you're
Now
right.
she just does like
She
The
did.
View every day.
That was like a peak, sort of like early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. Yeah, you're right.
Anyway, what's your sixth choice for shocking movie confessions? Rothschild.
Kind of like White Men Can't Jump. I don't know if it's shocking that I love this movie, but again, I want to bring it up. I feel like I love this more than is expected. It's the 1983 film Risky Business with Tom Cruise and Rebecca De Mornay.
I've also never seen it.
Good. And much like, because you'd shit all over it. Much like White Men Can't Jump, I consider it a masterpiece. I think it's
That's the movie where he's sliding in his underwear, right?
yes.
I've seen it parodied a number of times.
Yeah. I think this is I think Risky Business maybe the best movie about teens ever made. The best. I shouldn't say that. I should say the
Better than
best.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, I know. Let me get to this. The best portrayal of teens. Like the best. Damn. How do I do this?
How do I finagle my way out of this situation I've created?
No, because I do. I would rank it higher as a teen movie than Dazed and Confused, but Dazed and Confused is one of my favorite films, and I like it more than Risky Business. It was the thing I love about Risky Business is it takes a lot of times with teen films, and even Dazed and Confused, I think you could accuse of is that they're written clearly by older men. I would just say older people, but let's face it, women are shitted on in Hollywood. They don't get name me 5 female writers. You probably can't do it, but you can name me 5 male ones. So you have older men, and they're writing about a formative time. When you're a teenager, and you see things differently, and things are more important when you're a teenager than certain things than what they are when you're an adult. And people, we tend to look back. We don't reminisce about bad times. You know what I mean? We tend to look back on our youth as nostalgic and all that. So when you go to write that as an adult, chances are most movies portray teenagers and portray these things in not like, even if it's dramatic, it's sort of like this. It's great though. You're living the best time of your life and all this kind of shit, which isn't exactly what you feel when you are a teen. And I think very few movies lend that gravitas. You're not listening. It's a good movie. Check it out.
What movie is this again? Underwear Cruise?
What's that?
What movie is this again? Underwear Cruise?
Yes.
Okay.
Underwear Cruise. Surprised that Rothschild likes it.
Joel Schumacher?
Fuck you. Paul Brickman. The great Paul Brickman. The great Paul Brickman. I can't even name you anything else. He may not have even made another movie after that. I have to look that up. But yeah. So, filling dead air. My next choice.
That is my next choice. Number 7, Crimson Peak. It is actually another slightly less shocking confession. My favorite Del Toro movie.
Ew. Why?
Why?
Actually, no, I've never seen it, so I can't.
It's just a solidly made. I forget what I was gonna say, but it's just a solidly made ghost movie, man.
Isn't it like a goth romance as well? I don't know.
It is. It's like a Victorian era goth romance, and it has fucking Loki in it from the Thor movies from the Marvel universe. So Scorsese is likely a fan.
What was so what went wrong with this one I
honestly don't know why anyone doesn't like it, because it's reminiscent of like everything that Del Toro has been about throughout his whole movie. It's got like the gothic imagery, it's got the really bright ambers and the deep like blue hues. It's filled with just all the colors in it are brilliantly vibrant. There's giant gears clanking around, which he's always talked about being into big gears and automatons and machinery. It has all of those elements. It's an R-rated horror film, so he's not making like PG-13 Hellboy pictures anymore. He made another R-rated horror film. Honestly, the only thing that I think could have been associated with the backlash would be the casting of like Loki and shit, because it's Loki.
I don't even see that though, because don't girls love him? Like, don't younger people love that dude?
Well, yeah, but I'm saying the horror fans, though, people that were going to go see like the new Guillermo del Toro movie, then they see Loki popping up. Which I honestly, it took me like, I think I was like on my second watching of it, and then my girl was like, "Isn't that Loki?" Like, I didn't even notice it was him at first, which I guess props to him for looking the exact same, but portraying a different character and pulling it off.
Props to him for being an actor. No, but well, yeah, I don't know, like die-hard horror fans, like I feel like anybody who's a Del Toro fan, why would Hiddleston be a turnoff? Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like Pacific Rim. I mean, it's not like his casting is any sort of like contingent to his the success of his films.
World's better than Pacific Rim. Pacific Rim was just
I couldn't finish
CG. It was just a CG remake of Robot Jocks, a considerably better film by your boy Stuart Gordon from the early '90s.
That already has me interested because Stuart Gordon made it, and I've never seen
Stuart Gordon, and then it's just like action figures and then dudes in suit. Like, it's just a bunch of ridiculous practical effects from the early '90s of giant robots fighting. And it's literally like the same thing, like warring nations. Instead of having nuclear war, they battle it out in an arena.
Man, I am such a hipster when it comes to Del Toro. My opinion of him is about as typical as you can get. I like the foreign stuff. I like the foreign stuff. I love Devil's Backbone. I love Pan's Labyrinth. Pacific Rim I couldn't finish. Hellboy I couldn't finish. I didn't even give Crimson Peak a chance because it was like, well, here's an American one again, like, or an English one again. Um, I take that back.
You're a fan of ghost movies in general, correct?
It's not my go-to, but overall, yeah.
I would suggest giving it a shot. Out of my entire list, it's other than The Omen and like Ghost and shit you're familiar with. The ones it would probably be the one that would be most up your alley.
Huh. Yeah, and before you said that, I was just about to point out I liked Shape of Water. I always forget that movie exists.
I did not enjoy it. I only made it minutes, and I thought it was just boring and shut off.
So if I liked that, I should probably like Crimson Peak at least. All right, my next choice. Again, I don't know if it's shocking, but I love it more than most. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I I cannot say anything about it. I'm bored already.
This is one that I enjoyed when I was a kid, and upon revisiting it as an adult, it wasn't as good.
I had the opposite effect. I loved it as a child, and then as I got older and I started piecing together, like, wait, he's an alcoholic. Like, wait, this is Chinatown, but it's with animated characters. Like, I don't know. I appreciated it more as I got older, and I kind of thought, damn, they went for a kids movie and for the first ever licensing of Disney and Warner animated characters together. They really kind of took a shot with this. They could have made a safe Space Jam type movie, but it's like, no, we're going to make our main character an alcoholic detective and we're going to remake Chinatown, but for kids. Like, this is fucking great. I love that.
See, I take umbrage to that comment because I would actually prefer Space Jam over this movie.
Jesus, I could.
But I do own them both.
Oh yeah, and I do. I think it's entertaining, quotable. I dig it. I think it's. Yeah, I'd go so far. I think it's underrated in a way. I think people forget about how cool that movie is. Like what? Like I see Space Jam referenced all the time. That's a piece of shit. I don't hear anybody talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It's because it's 10 years older, and generally the people talking about it are 10 years younger than you. So that's why you're hearing it. The praise.
Yeah, I lived through Space Jam. Don't fucking talk about it. I was 14 when that came out, and I Believe You Can Fly was everywhere, and there's stupid shirts and Michael Jordan and Bill Murray. Fuck Bill. You know what? God,
you didn't enjoy the fact that Bill Murray could just show up in Looney Tunesville.
I never watched it.
He could just show up. That's the end of the fucking.
But you know why he did it. He's a big Chicago guy, and I'm sure it was like the Bulls and Michael Jordan. I give props for Bill Murray just showing up just because he can, and he's Bill Murray, and knowing it's complete garbage.
We'll agree to disagree on this one.
I love that. Here's something where we actually disagree on, and it could be an interesting debate, but we're like, nah, we're doing a podcast. We'll agree to disagree.
I mean, I feel I just brought out the heavy guns, and you just didn't react to it. Bill Murray just shows the fuck up into Looney Tunesville. Like,
he showed up in Garfield. Am I supposed to get excited about that too?
He showed up and did the voice, though. I'm talking about Bill Murray himself is in the movie as Bill Murray.
And as somebody who likes Bill Murray more than you do, no, I don't care. It doesn't. I wasn't impressed. I don't know. Nah. I'm saying I never even saw the movie. Maybe I would be. Maybe
and also, I'm a bit jaded by the fact on Roger Rabbit, Bob Hoskins wasn't so much playing an alcoholic as they were capturing his alcoholism on camera.
They just threw in some outtakes of Bob on set.
You heard about what he told Leguizamo on the Mario Brothers set, right? I forget the exact quote, but it's something about along the lines of "fuck it, they're paying us, just get drunk."
Yeah. He didn't. Yeah, I was about to say he was kind to Hoskins, wasn't he?
Do what? Leguizamo?
Like, I know he's known for Well, he did that whole thing where, I mean, the story he has about Seagal on Executive Decision is hysterical.
I have no idea
Um,
what you're talking about, man.
oh, dude, how like he looks like I'm on the wrong podcast. He had a story about how Seagal showed up on set and like was running his mouth, how he's gonna kick the shit out of everyone and blah blah blah. And like John Leguizamo thought, I'm probably butchering this whole story, but thought he was like kind of being joke, and he was trying to joke back with him. And as soon as he did, like he put like Leguizamo in a chokehold or some shit. But then like, and then later on, I'm probably messing all this up, but like he tried the same thing on like a stunt double to like to flex, you know what I mean? And the stunt double fucked Seagal up, and I think he pissed himself. Like he put Seagal in HO, like he flipped it on, you know what I mean? And like was I forget the way he told it, and I'm butchering it, but look it up.
Steven Seagal is a fucking enigma. How can someone who is so immobile have been an action star for so many years?
I have no clue.
Like he doesn't even move. People run at him and he
And you
just
know what
lifts an
though?
arm and they just clothesline themselves into it.
And I'm a fan.
Really? That is a shocking movie confession there.
I the movies are terrible. I'm a fan of them as comedies. Marked for Death is hilarious. Wait, what's the one with Richie? I always confuse Mark for Death and Out for
You're
Justice.
asking me like I've ever watched any of his fucking
He's
movies.
like, dude, he's like going around like, anybody see Richie? Like he can't act where the fuck. It's hilarious. He's like supposed to be, I think it's like his best friend and like the mob. He's a good cop, but like he grew up in the mafia neighborhood and shit. So like, you know, it's Seagal trying to be like this stereotype Italian. Like, anybody seen Richie? Anybody you know who did Bobby Lupo? And it's fucking ridiculous. It's great. And On Deadly Ground, dude, when his whole like environmental speech at the end of it, just Google that. It is fucking oh man.
I think
He's
we've
one of my
discovered the most shocking movie in confession here.
we have
Rothschild is a Steven Seagal fan.
Steven Seagal is one of my favorite comedic actors. I will say that. I would rather his movies are funnier to me than anything Adam Sandler's ever done. Or who else? Just throw somebody out there. I laugh harder at Steven Seagal movies than any Chris Farley movie, any Adam Sandler movie. Goes without saying, any Rob Schneider or, you know, any of those assholes. If Carrie didn't do Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura, they might be on par. Yeah, I'm getting carried away. My next selection.
Is it your next one? Did you do your number 7?
Dude, how long have we been doing this?
This episode is an hour long so far.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you keep ranting about how great Steven Seagal and White Men Can't Jump is, and Tom Cruise in his underwear, and I'm just like, man, I have nothing to say about these movies I've never seen.
Dude, let's just stop right now. Nobody's gonna listen this far. Let's see if anyone notices. Let's just start talking about something else completely.
Real quick. My number 8, Spawn. My number 9, Solo, the Star Wars movie. My number 10, Basic Instinct. What you got?
Basic Instinct, sweet. I don't think that's surprising for me, but
it's surprising. I'm glad for me. It's over 2-hour movie starring Turkey Neck.
It is, and I'm glad you like it because that movie is great. The rest of mine were Sunset Boulevard, Clueless, and Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
I've seen one of those.
Clueless?
Nope.
Oh, Romy?
Yep.
What are your thoughts on that?
I didn't like it enough to remember it. I just know I've seen it. I know they're 2 obnoxious chicks who really care about like their purses, correct?
No, they're like more Beavis and Butthead type. They're dumb. They're not vain. It's not like a Mean Girls kind of thing or anything, though. They're more just idiots. But yeah, I like it. I love it. But yeah, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? I'm dead ass serious. Let's
we had a write-in question from one Mr. Pancake Turner. He asked if they made a Batman and Robin movie starring Deke Slinson and Rothschild, who would play which character?
That's dumb.
Well, my answer for that would be...
I'm just kidding, Mark, because I know you're probably the only one who is going to make it this far in the podcast.
My answer would be whichever one of us is taller would be the Bat.
Yeah,
So
you would be Batman. I would
so,
be Fat
yep.
Robin
With a giant fucking beard just hanging out
in
under the mask.
the Burt Ward costume. No matter how modern your Batman is, I will be in the Burt Ward costume.
I'd want to go for Keaton, but I'd want the neck to be like even more stiff, so I couldn't even pretend to turn my head. So I just have to full on do the full body.
Do you do what I do? Like whenever I watch Batman, whenever I watch 89 Batman, I try to like move like he is. Like I just start doing it. Like how is that must have been so annoying. Every time he turns, it's like his whole damn body has to turn.
Didn't they not fix that until Bale? And then didn't Bale make like a big point of that in an interview? Like, I can turn my neck.
It was probably. I think they made it better on Returns. I could be wrong.
I
And
don't know. I remember Clooney.
I hope they made it worse for Kilmer.
I remember Clooney turning his whole fucking body a lot. I think he was able to look up a little bit. I don't know.
Keaton had a cool look in that, in like in the mask. Like I kind of like that. I liked how restrictive it was. It kind of made him more like
Well, it built him up. It gave him bulk because he's not a
yeah,
big, muscular
true.
cat. So it gave him, the bulging neck and shoulder musculature that he needed.
Yeah. See, I was too young to pick up on like all that fanboy outrage at the time that it was Keaton. I was too young to care. I didn't know that that was controversial casting.
So what's your opinion on the Twilight Boy?
I don't care.
Are you going to inevitably be forced to go see it with someone's child?
No, I
Are you going to
luckily
boycott that like the Stephen King one,
I
Doctor
mean
Sleep?
I technically boycotted every Batman movie since Dark Knight. I saw Dark Knight
That's not
Rises.
true. You watched Batman Harley Quinn and you enjoyed that. That could have been
Oh,
on your shocking
and
movie
the
confessions here. An
animated one.
animated Batman.
I don't think that's shocking yet because I still want to watch more. If I don't like any of the other ones, then yeah, I'd say that's shocking. But as of right now, they're one for one in my mind. You know what I mean? The DC animated studios, they're good to me. I don't know. I can't say I'm shocked yet.
The DC animated movies are better and arguably have better continuity than the Marvel cinematic universe.
Yeah. And I told you it's funny. I have more friends in real life who are comic book guys than movie people, and that seems to be the opinion I always hear is that the DC animated movies are like incredible and they like the Marvel movies, but they're the kind who will point out like they're I like a lot of my friends are the type that like Tobey Maguire didn't build his web shooters, like that kind of shit. Um,
Well, that is a pretty major character development point for the character. His character
yeah,
wasn't smart at all. His character was just a doughy faced loser.
but that's what I mean. Like I'm not into comic books at all, so like a lot of it's kind of funny how I have more friends that are like I hear these opinions more than I probably would otherwise because I'm not like I don't care. He could Tobey Maguire could have been shooting fucking webs out of his dick. I don't give a shit. Like it doesn't ruin the character for me or like I was telling you the other day, or maybe it was on the podcast, how like for me, Superman, for instance, is just synonymous with Christopher Reeve. You know, Lois Lane, Margot Kidder is Lois Lane to me. Like there's no comic reference. There's no. I don't care if it's been remade. Like that's
What if they
just
remade it and they cast Anne Hathaway
opening day, brother.
twice? What if they just made a Lois Lane movie and it was just about a bad reporter who had like abandonment issues because Superman wasn't around?
I'm surprised nobody's done that. That could be really funny if done correctly. I've always thought that. Weren't they, or was that a joke? They were going to do that with Aunt May, with Marissa Tomei.
I have no idea.
I don't know. But like that's actually a clever idea, and if done well, it could be funny. Like cut away every time a typical action beat would happen. You know what I mean? And focus on some minutia that Lois is doing that day or something. I don't know. Mark, write that. Tyson,
we get
Tyson, if you
screenwriter credits for
story
coming up
credits.
with the concept.
Tyson, if you're listening, there you go. There's your screenplay. So yeah, but anyway, back to Kurt Cobain. Dude, I got excited last night. Or was it some night recently? I've been going through all these old VHS like stuff that I recorded when I was younger, and I've been like just converting it, seeing what's on it. And 9 out of 10 times I'm disappointed. It's garbage. But I had all these old roasts, and I was looking, and Norm wasn't on any of them. But wasn't it you who was telling me the one, like a few of his are hard to find even on YouTube?
His
Like,
roast?
yeah.
He only did one roast.
I
He
thought he
only
did
did the No, he did the roast of who was it?
of Saget.
Yeah, because Saget's his real life friend, and when he did it, he didn't do any insulting
Oh,
jokes.
and it was hilarious. It's the funniest thing in the world,
Yeah,
dude.
everyone thought that he did it as some like
Ladies and gentlemen,
statement.
this man is for the birds.
Yeah, everyone thought he did it as some kind of like statement of anti-comedy, and he was like, "No, Bob Saget's my friend, and I love him. I don't want to go up there and rip him to pieces." He just legitimately was being a good friend.
Either way, it was hilarious. I was like, when they kept cutting to the crowd, that made it so much funnier because the crowd had no idea how to handle it.
So you were just watching VHS cassette tapes of Comedy Central roasts?
No, I have like this, I have this converter thing hooked up to my computer. So I'll like play, like I'll do other stuff and I'll let that play and fast forward and I'll just kind of look, you know what I mean? Like, oh, what did I record on here? And like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's trash, like those roasts were, and I got rid of it. But trying to find some gems here and there.
Anytime one of those roasts had an actual good joke, it would likely have to be cut.
Godfrey doing the aristocrat stuff was gold. I forget whose roast that was.
Godfrey's generally pretty good just because his delivery is so stilted and he doesn't care and he's just screaming at the audience.
Well, that's what happened. Whose roast was that? Where Godfrey, he kind of started it, and I think it's like he wasn't getting the reaction, so he started. You know that aristocrat stuff, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
seen the
the
boring ass
documentary,
movie.
dude. It does suck. Thank you. I have a friend who like loved it, and I'm like, yeah, it's a funny concept, and it's cool to like hear about it, but to watch the same joke over and over again for an hour and a half, where
The joke isn't even that good.
no,
I
and
mean, I
that's the
get,
point. And I
yeah.
like knowing about it, but I don't need to watch an hour and a half of people just try to say offensive things to get to this dumb punchline, you know. But yeah, but that documentary aside, when Godfrey did that roast, it was hysterical. And again, it was the crowd feeding on the crowd didn't know what he was doing, which made it better. I mean, that was kind of Hedberg's genius too. I always liked was that he brilliantly sort of walked that line of shtick and actual failure. You know what I mean?
I heard Artie Lang was on a podcast. I think he was on Joe Rogan the other day, and he was telling a Mitch Hedberg story. And I guess Mitch Hedberg came up and gave him a joke. It was like a fat guy joke. He was like, "I can't do it, man, because I'm not fat." So he gave it to Artie Lang. And then a couple hours later or something, he comes up like, "Hey, man, if I gain 100 pounds in 3 months or whatever, I'm gonna take that joke back." And so Artie was like, "All right." And a couple of nights later, he goes to some different comedy place, and some other fucking young comedians up there doing the same joke beat for beat.
He gave it to somebody else.
Yeah, he comes up to him after the show and he's like, "What the fuck, Mitch? What happened?" And Mitch was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I probably gave that joke to a bunch of fat guys."
That's great. He was one of the he was one of the last to me that I kind of felt a kinship for or something. That I felt like he was his own sort of like I can't compare Hedberg to anyone else. Even some of the other great comedians, I can see their influences or I can, categorize them as like Lenny Bruce and Carlin or Bill Hicks and Carlin. They're
He was just
comparable.
an
You know
endless
what I
string of
mean?
non sequiturs, basically.
Yeah. And it shouldn't work. There's a brilliant sort of performance art to it that like it shouldn't work, and it did. It was,
and I don't know how much that was performance and how much that
that's
was him just being
exactly
captured being fucked
exactly,
up.
and that's what I'm saying. That's part of the genius. I can't tell, but it worked, man. And yeah, like there's no one else really. I can't think of another comedian who's in that lane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't. You know what? Here's another gripe I've always had with stand up. I are you like this? I immediately either tune out or like I don't like instruments in stand up.
They can be used all right, but
Like
if it's the only gimmick, then yeah, I'm generally not big on it. But if it's just like they'll do one number, then meh. It depends on how horrible said number is. But on that note of stand-up comedians, I think I'll bring this episode to a close on a quote from both of our favorite comedians.
Whoopi Goldberg?
No. And this quote is dedicated to, I know, a longtime listener of ours, one Los Hermanos Escalator.
Yes.
I don't feel we cursed enough on this episode, so I'm going to close out with a little Carlin.
I feel like I did.
Rat shit, bat shit, dirty old twat. 69 assholes tied in a knot. Lizard shit, fuck!